All right.
So hey, let's let folks in on what's going on. It says here, in the wake of Monday's surprise announcement that Houston's police chief would be Miami's next top cop, we're learning more about him. We're also learning about lawsuits linked to high-profile police incidents under his watch. At a news conference this week, he was asked, "Chief, your move comes at a time when crime-fighting strategies are not working." Art Acevedo shut him down. Diaz tells us that in the city of Houston, they have seen homicides skyrocket in the last 14 months. It is the #1 safety concern for any Houstonian, and many people view it as one of the driving forces for him to go to Miami. A meteoric rise in homicides in Houston. Diaz also profiles to mounting lawsuits related to 2 high-profile police-related incidents during Acevedo's tenure. That includes a 2019 Harding Street raid, a botched raid where cops lied, and 2 people died inside their home. This guy, Diaz said that Acevedo must go back to Houston from Miami to address the scandal, and the families believe it is one of the key reasons why he bolted to the Magic City. He says, "That is not my history. I don't cut and run," Acevedo said on Thursday. The incoming city of Miami chief about some of these concerns, including Houston's worrisome homicide rate. We asked, what would you be doing differently or lesson learned from your time in Houston so we don't have a repeat here in Miami of homicides going up on your watch? He responded, "First of all, if you talk to sociologists, homicides are the most challenging." The chief deflected from speaking to specific police strategies, instead directing attention toward what he believes is an inefficient court system. Amid the pandemic, we had over 100 murders that were committed by people who were out on bond. He also addressed criticism about doublespeak when it comes to transparency, saying one thing in public at Monday's news conference: relational policing, it's about transparency, but being reticent to release information to the public practice. Diaz says many people in Houston will tell you that they truly have not seen transparency from Chief Art Acevedo. I believe there is only been one police body cam that I can point to that has been released under his watch.
Wow.
Acevedo fires back by saying it is important for people to know that no matter how much you want to be transparent, there's also a process, and process matters. Police officers that go rogue, police officers that make you take administrative action against, they're going to have good lawyers, and they're going to have everything at their disposal to try and remain in the force and try to escape justice. So our #1 responsibility is to ensure we conduct the investigation and release information in a way that does not impact the final outcome. The Houston Chronicle released an editorial titled, "As Police Chief Acevedo knew something, showing up was half the battle." As for the pending lawsuits, include a $100 million civil suit related to the police shooting death of Nicholas Chavez, coming one day after Miami named Acevedo the next chief. Acevedo says, "I am confident it will be important for the people of Miami to see as the cases progress what role this chief played in bringing to light what bad things there were. I hope you give me the chance to show you my heart, my work, my commitment to constitutional policing, your safety, and always doing the right thing." Miami City's manager and mayor about the concerns coming out of Houston if the city's rising homicide rate and pending lawsuits related to police incidents were known during the secretive recruiting process, but neither responded to our request for an interview.
Of course not.
Acevedo's hiring was announced on Monday.
It's the way that he's hired. It's not the fact that he's hired. That's a different issue that I brought up. Okay, why Acevedo from Houston? Why not one from the city of Miami who's worked through the ranks and earned that spot?
Absolutely. You're going to tell me that there's not one police officer that has the capacity, the ability, the experience to head this department?
Several.
Come on.
Several. But see, there's a little thing that was going on. When was Acevedo?
Monday.
What date was that?
Monday was let's see. I don't know. You know I got this pregnancy brain. Hold on.
Oh, Lord. Here goes.
I forget this stuff. The 15th.
The 15th.
Yes.
Okay. You know, it was weeks prior that they were going to announce that, right?
And I know that they made a list public
Yeah.
of candidates that they were considering back in February.
Mm-hmm.
And Art Acevedo was not on this list.
But do you know that the black community was pushing for a black chief?
Really? I did not know that.
Oh, no, you do. And it was decided, or it was just coincidence, that they did not, announce Acevedo till after, what was last month?
February.
Black History Month? And they held it back, and they didn't make the announcement. They already knew they wanted Acevedo. They were just going through the motions. I don't have nothing against Acevedo. Again, I don't even know who the hell this guy is. He's probably a fabulous chief and all that stuff. I'm not too, under his watch, officers act. That has nothing to do with him. It has to do with, it's just it was just a situation. It was a situation that went bad, and he happened to be the chief and stuff like that. That I have to give, But when it comes to picking your chief, shame on you, City of Miami. But guess who picks him? The politicians.
Yep.
That's
and
right.
who picks the politicians?
Not the community.
Us.
Not the community. The community, all they can do is put pressure to get a certain person or persons, in the running there. But I knew it 3 or 4 weeks ago that the information was going to come out, and they were holding it because of that. That's right. They were holding the information because they thought they were going to get a black chief of police in the city of Miami, which really doesn't make a difference. Black, white, Hispanic, whatever the hell, just as long as it's a good chief, who the hell cares? And does the right thing. But where I have a problem is, why did you go outside to get him? If I was on that command staff and it was time to retire, I would have gone in. I would have said, it was a pleasure meeting you, Ms. Chief Acevedo. Today's my last day. I'm done. I'm out of here.
Let me ask you a question. So the ones that hire the police chief for City of Miami is a city manager. Correct. Okay. Shouldn't there be like some sort of panel or something of like the current police officers, the high-ranking police officers that maybe have some sort of input? Yeah,
but see how they're smart, because they feed you the good stuff that he did over there, right? Yeah. And I'm sure he did. I don't even know who the hell this guy is, but this is the bottom line. Okay, really simple. Does anybody know what his internal affairs
nope
file or his record is? Do we know?
Nope.
As an officer, because let me tell you what happens. From officer they go to sergeant, and sometimes there's no change. But sometimes they go from sergeant to lieutenant, and the higher they get, then they start the changes. See, from officer to sergeant, they go to Walmart and they buy the white shirt with the blue tie, or the red tie, or the green tie. And then they walk around with their tie. Their walk is different. They talk to you different, even though you knew them all your life. Now, all of a sudden, they're one of them. Then they go to lieutenant, and some of them, now that's where the knucklehead thing starts kicking in, where you have the lieutenant going, oh, I'm getting there, and my goal is to become a commander, a chief, whatever position it is. However, that is not true for all of them, because I have a lot of friends that went all the way from sergeant all the way up to chiefs and all that stuff. Good people, still consider them good people, and they change very, very little. There's always a little bit of change because you need it, but change very little. But this guy here, he was brought here for a reason. He was brought here for a reason, and it wasn't because he did such a marvelous job in
Houston.
That's what I suspect. I don't know the guy. Let's give it some time. Let's see if he becomes a politician, or he's already a politician and he just hasn't shown
A mí
it
me
yet.
parece, by the way that he's, evading these questions, that he might be more of a politician than, than a cop.
Mira, si la policía de la ciudad de Miami hubieran, ¿cómo se llama esto? Elegido un oficial que fue de sargento a teniente a capitán, a mayor, bla, 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 y lleva ahí 25 o 30 años.
Pero es que hay tantas personas calificadas para esa posición.
No. En la ciudad de Miami no. En la ciudad de Miami tuvieron que ir a Houston, Texas,
a traer un tipo,
a traer una persona que no se conoce, que dice que es cubano, muy bueno.
Que no se llama ni Arturo.
Un
dice,
aplauso.
Mi nombre es Art.
Sí, no, él no es Arturo, él es Art.
Él es Art.
Bueno, yo soy Izzy y me llamo Isidoro.
Sí, pero tú te presentas a todo el mundo y te preguntan what's your name y dices Isidoro.
Sí, porque el problema fue que el Izzy no fui yo, esos fueron los americanos. Que yo cuando entré al departamento de la policía de Miami-Dade, habían muchos americanos. Yo caigo en una unidad que eran todo eran americanos, excepto un par de los oficiales. Y me decían Isadora.
Isadora.
Right. Y yo le dije, no sé dónde entra la A, pero es Isidoro.
Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. When I changed, okay, for those of you guys who don't know, my legal name is Jenny. And I had a great producer, Desmond Child. He's the one that gave me the stage name Cachita Lopez, right? And at the beginning, I told him, I go, dude, you're nuts. He goes, it's an iconic name. You're going to see it's going to grow. And I said, the American people are going to have an issue with this whole Cachita thing. And, hey, I get called Chiquita all the time. Alvin, the other day.
Chiquita, yeah. He
called me Chiquita like 3 times. And I was like
Chiquita Banana?
Yeah.
I heard him.
The Chiquita Banana girl.
Le llamaron platanito a Cachita. Dime,
mira, a mí me han llamado peores cosas. Así que me digan.
¿Tú te imaginas
que
le dijeron
Chiquita Banana?
Chiquita Banana le dijeron. No, ya es
mira, Chiquita.
A mí nunca me han dicho Chiquita Banana.
Te digo una cosa. Que Chiquita está mejor que Art. Art. My name is Art.
Déjame hacerte un cuento rápido. Cuando yo empecé en la policía de Miami, teníamos varios individuos que, aunque eran cubanos, boricua, dominicanos, bla, 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 decían que no hablaba español. Yo no hablo español. Hasta que le dijeron que podía ganar 10,000 o 15,000 pesos más.
Por ser bilingüe.
Por ser bilingüe. Entonces, para ayudar en unas investigaciones. Entonces, de pronto, es como que lo bautizaron, ¿no? En una iglesia así, una iglesia como
y salen
cristiana.
al próximo día. ¿Hacer que hola?
Sí, hablaban un español encendido. Seguían siendo unos imbéciles porque ellos te decían esa misma cosa. Si tu nombre es Arturo, my name is Arturo. ¿Tú entiendes? Oh, no, my name is Art. Y no, espérate. Y el acento, te tiraba un acento de esos sureños que tú decías, alabado, pero este vino de las montañas de Tennessee, ¿de dónde vino este? Y eran unos imbéciles, porque te decían eso. Es más, que había uno que me decía que la familia era italiana. Italiana, oye esto. Y estamos un día y me dice estoy en un lugar y me dice alguien, ¿tú conoces a fulanito de tal? Le digo, sí, claro que sí. Sí, el italiano. Y dice, ¿italiano? No sé, la familia de él es atibonico, no sé qué cosa ahí en no sé por dónde, por el campo, en Cuba, es que esto y lo otro. ¿Tú sabes lo que es tener que decir que yo no soy cubano? De la forma que yo me comporto, de la forma que yo abro, ¿entiendes? Y hablo. Y yo ahora me voy a hacer pasar, ¿por qué? Tú estás loco. Y entonces aquí hay muchos imbéciles que se pierden, quieren perder eso.
Bueno, mira, te comento, en mi familia misma están. Yo tengo primos. Mi mamá vino en el 66, mi mamá tú la has conocido, es una requete cubanaza.
Claro, me encanta.
Mi papá también era un cubanazo. Y mis tías, yo tengo una tía que vino, obvio, en el 66 con mi mamá, que es más joven que mi mamá. Y ella es una hippie americana. Y sus 3 hijos no hablan español.
No.
Sus 3 hijos, they say, en vez de decir, my name is, por ejemplo, Vanessa González, es, oh, my name is Vanessa González.
Right.
I'm like, what?
Well, see, you're going to have people
Y
listen.
no es Cristina, my name's Christine.
Christine, claro.
Claro.
Y fíjate que no es, it's not about, well, this is America, I speak English. That's fine.
That's
But
fine.
if I can make 15 grand more than you,
because I speak Spanish.
Because I'm bilingual, damn, let me at least, practice it a little bit so I can go ahead and make 15 grand more than you.
No, okay, I feel it's an issue. I know that years ago, and this happened in a ton of industries, including the entertainment industry, when Linda Ronstadt came out,
Remember?
Linda changed her name so that the Anglo public would accept her.
Right.
Because Latin artists weren't seen as mainstream artists.
Right.
So way back when she became a singer, when she, took on that professional level, she changed her name to Ronstadt, and she was of Mexican descent.
Yeah, pero look at Carlos Santana. Carlos Santana nunca se cambió el nombre.
No.
Y a mí Carlos Santana no es que me caiga muy bien, porque creo que tienes unos pensamientos un poquito extraños, pero Carlos Santana no se lo cambió. José Feliciano no se lo cambió.
No.
Hubieron muchos que no se los cambiaron. Pero sí, existieron algunos, igual que en la policía, que se cambiaban los nombres y eso para decir que eran italianos y irlandés.
Pero es que los entiendo también a cierto punto, porque es que también hay una discriminación. Por ejemplo, hace unos años, Mark Anthony nació en New York. Es neoyorquino, su familia es de Puerto Rico, pero él nació en New York. Entonces, y antes de ser un cantante de salsa y todo eso, Mark Anthony lo que cantaba era freestyle.
Correcto.
Okay. Entonces, a él lo invitan a cantar el National Anthem. He speaks perfect English.
Right.
Perfect English. Y lo invitan a cantar, ¿cómo se llama esto? A cantar el himno nacional en un juego de los Yankees. Y el
Okay.
culeco, you know, he goes. If you see the comments, the backlash,
Over what?
over having a spick sing, you know, the national
Oh,
anthem.
that's a different issue. Yeah.
Así mismo. And they're like, oh, do you think he's going to be able to sing it in English?
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, just because this person professionally is known in one field, you can't just write him off because he's an American. He was born here.
It doesn't make a difference. Who the hell cares as long as they sing it? Look at now. Nobody wants to say. They don't want it played anywhere. They don't want it. Take a knee. That's another one. How come they're not taking knees anymore? Are they still taking knees? Because I don't watch sports anymore.
Let me tell you something.
There's only one sport that I
I'm
watch.
going to tell you something.
There's two.
Golf and what?
NHRA drag racing.
Okay.
Those guys never took a knee and never started
So
playing
wait,
the little
pero
game.
hold on.
NASCAR for me.
I'm
dead.
glad you bring up this point because I saw some of our mutual friends actually posting something about this earlier the week, and I have a question for you. When the protests, quote unquote riots, were going on, people were saying just protest peacefully.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And a lot of people brought up examples like Martin Luther King, that he would, you know, he would have these peaceful marches,
Yes, he did.
right?
Yes.
And at certain times they would pray, right? Because he's a pastor. He was a pastor. He was a reverend. And in certain, there's even pictures and video of Martin Luther King kneeling, you know, in prayer for whatever situation. And it could have been, and it's crazy because if you look at the images, it's una cosa espectacular because you have these angry white mobs surrounding them, and Martin Luther King and a lot of his followers were literally just kneeling, being peaceful. So I saw a lot of folks say, well, you guys should be more like Martin Luther King, follow his path, follow whatever. I understand that someone in the military, someone a first responder, even a person that considers himself to be very, very patriotic can be offended by somebody who takes a knee. I understand that. However, these people are not being violent. These people are exercising a right to take a knee.
Right.
They're not cursing. They're not stomping on the flag. They're not, you know. So in a way, I would rather have people kneel during a game, because let's be real. When you're at home or when you're at a sports bar and they're singing the national anthem, how many people actually stand up and take off their hat?
No, because they have different beliefs and stuff like that.
No.
Of course.
What I'm saying is there are a lot of folks that criticize the football players and the baseball players that take a knee during the national anthem.
Yes.
But it's kind of like a hypocritical thing because unless you are that person that at your house, when you're in like flip-flops and gym shorts and the national anthem comes on, unless you're standing up, you remove your cap
Right.
and you put your hand over your heart and, you know, you actually sing.
But nobody asked them to do that. They don't have to put their hand over their heart. They don't have to take off their hat. They can just have to stand there, and that's it.
But they're not.
And a lot of the coaches told them, you don't have to do anything. But you do have to stand. And here's the thing.
I don't see a problem
do you
with
take
that.
a knee out of disrespect? Do you take a knee out of disrespect? It's no different than if I say, you know what? I don't like your mom. I really hate your mom, the way that she thinks and the way that she acts. So every time that I see you, I'm going to take a knee. Would you take that personal?
You
No,
can't take it personal.
You can go ahead and say it.
No, you can't take it
You're
personal.
damn right. So the flag for me is like my mother.
Okay.
The bottom line is you do anything to disrespect my flag, okay? My flag. It might not be your flag because you have different, you know, not you, but I'm saying the people that are protesting, right? If you have a different, you know, a different way of seeing things, that I respect. What I don't respect is you don't disrespect my flag, the one that gave me the opportunity
You feel, but here's the thing. You
No.
feel that the flag symbolize for you. The flag is symbolic.
The flag
of
is
the
no,
opportunity.
not for me. It should be for every American in this great nation.
It should be for everybody.
right.
But everyone has the right to feel whichever way they feel.
Exactly.
And for you, the American flag represents that opportunity that they gave your family that were fleeing from a horrible government.
Correct.
it represents freedom. It represents the opportunity to actually have a life, to have a future, to provide a future for your family.
Right.
I understand your commitment to that.
Right.
At the same time, there are people that the flag does not represent that to
That's
them.
fine, and I'm not telling them.
Okay?
I'm not telling them
So
to do that.
they're not.
But you don't have to disrespect it.
Here's the thing, pero they're not burning the flag.
Ignore it. Oh no. But see,
They're not burning the flag.
Now wait. Now
Because
you're
if you
comparing
kneel-
apples and oranges.
If you kneel down,
We're talking about the kneeling down. When you kneel down, as soon as you hear not the flag,
It's a national
you hear
anthem.
that national anthem, and you take a knee in protest. Yeah, I have an issue with that.
okay, so do you have an issue when after the George Floyd protests and all that stuff,
Yeah.
that the NFL started a series of games and they also included the Negro national anthem? Did you have a problem with that?
No, is that what they want to do? Go ahead and knock yourself out. I mean, I'm not going to recognize it because I'm not a Negro,
There
I'm
were-
not black, and
there
that
was a
doesn't
lot
matter
of
to me.
people- there was a
A mí
lot
que
of
me
people-
Mira, óyeme esto, a mí que pueden poner el himno nacional negro, lo pueden poner a donde le dé la gana a ellos. Ellos quieren ponerlo. Ahora, donde yo tengo un problema es cuando me quitan el himno nacional mío para poner el negro, el blanco, el judío, el que le dé la gana a
Pero
ellos.
es que pusieron los dos.
Ok, perfecto.
pusieron los dos.
I don't have an issue with that. I really don't.
Pero, okay, so ven acá. Y si ponen el himno de los negros,
Ok, bueno.
y tú te arrodillas because you don't identify with
no,
that.
es que yo no soy tan imbécil.
Pero-
yo no soy tan estúpido.
pero vamos a
porque eso es una
decir-
estupidez. Ahora ponen el himno nacional negro, ¿no? Y yo me arrodillo. Lo primero que van a decir, aunque por dentro yo diga, a mí no me gustan los negros, vamos a suponer, y eso no es
Van a decir que tú eres un racista de la misma
Exacto,
forma que ustedes
exacto.
dicen que todas las personas que se arrodillan en el himno
Exacto,
nacional son
exacto.
son delincuentes
como-
y son izquierdistas.
Correcto. No, son no, izquierdistas
Everyone
no,
says
son
that.
unos imbéciles, No tiene que ver
Ok.
con ellos no saben lo que es izquierdista.
Pero
Mira,
ellos
mira.
no están cometiendo ningún crimen, ellos no están hiriendo a nadie,
No,
ellos no están quemando la bandera,
claro.
ellos se sienten
Ajá.
que
Sí.
tienen el derecho a sentirse
Sí,
así,
sí.
que ese himno a ellos en este momento no los representa.
Correcto, igual que tienen el derecho de hacer una canción que dice vamos a matar la policía y vamos a matar los blancos. Ahora, Dios me libre, yo como policía decir vamos a matar los negros y vamos a quemar los negros. Dime en qué tú crees que vamos a ver. ¿Por qué no lo ponemos para... Espérate. No, espérate. No. Lo que es bueno para uno es bueno para el otro.
What's
Pero
good
en,
for you is good
en
for
este
Andrew.
país, en este país le faltan muchos pantalones para decírselo en la cara al que sea. Eso no está bien hecho ni de un lado ni del otro. A mí me ponen el himno nacional negro y soy incapaz de arrodillarme ni de hacer cara ni nada de eso. Lo tocaron, ya se acabó, vamos a jugar el juego. Pero esta gente no, esta gente es it's a one-way street. It's my way or the highway, and I'm sick and tired of that.
Ay, my way or the highway,
Bottom
we
line.
gotta take
And
a
there
quick
you,
break.
Quema una bandera delante de mí para que tú veas.
Porque tú
Te van
piensas
a
que
tener-
voy a quemar una bandera.
Bueno, te van a tener que sacar
Ay,
a ti
Dios
no, pero a la
mío.
persona le van a tener que sacar el zapato donde tú sabes, va a ser un cirujano.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to be right back. This is I'll Call You Back, True Blue Unedited with President Sir
Izzy Martinez,
and Cachita Lopez here on Cachita Latina Radio.
be back.
111, 110.
Mi mujer no se levanta de la cama sin 2 cafés, hechos por mí, por supuesto. Le pregunté cuál es de la casa el mejor café y me dijo, sinceramente, Cachita. Pruébenlo. Y después me dice, salud, con Cachita.
Hay ropa bonita aquí. Señor, me hace el favor. Me hace el favor, porque...
Dígame. Tony, ¿con qué?
¡Alejo!
Tú en una tienda de ropa de mujeres.
Bueno, porque estoy comprándole a una dama para hacerle un regalo.
Ay, qué casualidad. Yo también estoy tratando de comprarle a una dama para ver si me dice que sí, porque cuando hay ropa buena no hay que se resista a decirte que no.
Bueno, pues tú sabes que yo nunca me imaginé
Sí.
que aquí en el medio de Default me iba a encontrar con Alejo.
No es default, es hollarse.
Hollarse
Sí.
está en Default.
Usted me desfolca, pero es hollar. ¡Oh, ya sé! ¡En default!
¿En Default?
¿De verdad que sí?
¿Hollarse?
En default.
Señorita, ¿usted me ayuda?
Te ayuda a lo que está más perdido. Hollarse. No hay más nada.
¡Ay! ¿Y eso qué fue? ¡Ay, me dieron por detrás! ¡Ay, no, espérate un momento! Me voy a ver ahora. ¡Ay! ¡Ay, qué mala suerte! ¡Ay! ¿Y yo dónde estoy? ¿Esto es el paraíso?
No, estás en Your Care Health Network.
Avanza con el pie derecho con Your Care Health Network.
Aquí no le cambiamos su suerte, pero resolvemos todos los problemas de su accidente.
Accidentado, recompensado.
Ay, Dayami, si yo te estaba buscando en mi vida. Me dijeron que tú eres la mejor para cotizarme un seguro para mi carro.
Claro que sí, aquí en Diamond Insurance te vamos a hacer una cotización que se ajuste a tu bolsillo y a tus necesidades de seguro.
Ay, en mi vida, y con lo caro que están los seguros en la Florida.
Han subido, pero un poquito, pero no te preocupes, nosotros aquí tenemos muchos años trabajando todo el estado con muchas compañías.
Ay, eso es lo que yo necesito. ¿Y qué tengo que hacer? ¿Cómo compro mi póliza?
Nada, con una simple llamada, un mensaje de texto, un email, cotizamos tu póliza completamente gratis y en minutos, porque somos la manera más fácil para asegurarte.
Dayami, aquí, entre tú y yo. ¿Tú sí me vas a contestar?
Claro que sí, nosotros siempre contestamos.
Ay, ¿verdad que un diamante es un diamante? Con Diamond Insurance me siento asegurado.
Segura que sí.
Una flor en la ocasión especial puede hacer la diferencia.
Bueno, cuando las personas vienen a una floristería tienen múltiples opciones para una persona que está en un hospital, para una persona que ha fallecido, conquistar a una mujer, disculparnos.
Si usted se quiere disculpar porque metió la pata la semana pasada, venga aquí a Cerezo Flower. Ya sabes, 1721 Southwest, 32 Avenida, marca el teléfono 786-326-4412. Haz la diferencia con la persona que tú amas. Una flor.
Gentlemen, we're back. This is I'll Call You Back. True Blue Unedited with President Sir.
Izzy Martinez.
I'm Cachita Lopez here on Cachita Latina Radio CLR 154 on your Sirius XM dial. If you're listening to us on Sirius or watching us on Facebook or YouTube,
Yes.
we invite you to please download our
Absolutely.
free app. It's ENTV USA, where you're going to have access to all of the exclusive content on Cachita Latina Radio, as well as ENTV USA, including a fantastic concert series called Unplugged. And we're here each and every night, courtesy of Café Cachita, el mejor para compartir. Te tengo que contar what happened when we got home yesterday.
¿Cómo que me tienes que contar what happened?
What happened? What happened
Ahí
when
sí
we got
se
home?
le salió todo lo de ya, tú sabes.
Lo de Hialeah.
Bueno,
So,
yo no lo quise decir porque no quiero ofender a la gente de Hialeah. Que
ay, pero ¿cuál es el problema? Si la gente de Hialeah todos somos un vacilón.
fíjate
Mira,
que Magali se puso pálida. Ni la vamos a mirar.
anyway,
Dime.
llegamos y me dio por comerme un helado de chocolate a esa hora, con cafecito así, chuchu, polvoreado por arriba. ¿Y tú sabes con qué me lo comí?
No me digas con una cucharita de esa de chocolate.
Con 2 cucharitas de chocolate. Ya no me quedan cucharitas de chocolate.
No, pero es que esta mujer, you know, she's
¡Qué
pregnant
rico!
and all she does is eat ice cream with chocolate.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable.
It's so good. I had like a chocolate milkshake this morning.
I'm telling you. You know, she hasn't gained weight. That I have to give her. She looks
Yeah, it
really,
is.
really good, you know, and everything else. I'm just afraid, you know,
Sang
that
so much.
those last months are pretty dangerous.
We're going to have a blast. We're going to have a blast. So anyway, I want to talk about some stuff that made headlines today. Stuff that we have to discuss. All right, it says here, a former social studies teacher at Coral Reef High School is facing 2 felony charges. over an alleged romantic relationship with one of his students. According to Miami-Dade police, an allegation was made against 39-year-old Rafael Birriel back in June of 2019. It stated that he was romantically involved with one of his students. Investigators said they met with the victim, and she said she was romantically involved with the teacher for 1 year. The relationship became physical on one occasion. Police and most of the conversation between Birriel and the student took place on the social media app Discord. I don't even know about that damn app. What can I say? I haven't even heard that. After obtaining a copy of these chats, detectives said that they learned Birriel tried to persuade the student to send erotic, nude, and racy photos. And I quote, erotic, nude, and racy photos of herself, and he described sexual acts that he would like to do with her. Police said one of the conversations described an encounter Birriel had with the student at the school where he kissed her and grabbed her buttocks over her clothes after the kiss. Investigators were able to confirm it was Birriel on the other side of the conversation. Birriel turned himself into police on Monday. He faces felony charges of prohibited computer usage and offenses against students made by authority figures. He was taken to TGK right here, around the corner from us. Miami-Dade County Public School officials said Birriel was removed from his position as soon as the allegations were made, and he will soon be fired from the school district after being part of it for more than 13 years. Parents of Coral Reef's students said they were stunned by the allegations, but added the school acted appropriately and made the right decision.
Wow. You know, we're seeing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
We're seeing a lot.
But also female teachers.
Yep.
You know? That's unbelievable. I never had a teacher, that looked like those teachers nowadays that, they want to date their students and stuff. My teachers were usually not good looking.
But it's not just that.
Well, I did have one, Miss Bird, and that was in New Jersey. I was a little kid, but she did look good.
You had a crush on your teacher.
Not
you had
really.
a crush on Miss Bird.
No, there's more to the story. One day in New Jersey, you have it's like a long closet where you put your coat, your snowshoes, you put all that stuff. Right? What do they call it? The mud room or whatever. And then you used to go and put that stuff in there. And she was nasty. She was blonde, blue eyes, beautiful lady, right? And I walk in and I caught her with the principal in there.
What?
I went, woo, sorry. And I went out the other way. All the kids, because we were there. We just came in.
How old are you?
Huh?
How old are you?
I don't know, 7.
Oh, wow.
And I still remember that. I was impressed.
So, BSO, because we're always making fun of Miami. We're going to talk about Miami Beach in a little bit, too. It says here, Broward Sheriff's Office has made contact with the mother of a young girl who was found wandering alone in Lauderdale Lakes on Friday morning. According to BSO, deputies found the girl wandering around the Somerset Apartments around 10 a.m. BSO deputies are talking to the girl's mother over the phone to figure out where she was when her daughter was discovered wandering around the apartment complex by herself and where the mother may be now. Porque la tipa, tú sabes, no ha ido a reclamar a la niña.
Wait. Is that the little girl that they put a picture out and see if somebody knew her?
Yes, la morenita with the braids.
Right. So,
yes.
So the mother didn't know she was missing?
The child remains with deputies at BSO. Deputy says she's somewhere between the ages of 4 and 5. They don't know her name or where she lives. Additionally, a woman claiming to be the child's grandmother showed up at the facility, but the child still hasn't been released to anyone by 10 p.m. This was updated at 10 p.m.
Can you imagine that? Having your kid missing and you're like,
If she would, okay. So someone found her wandering around at 10 in the morning. It's 10 p.m. You're going to tell me you don't have time in a 12-hour time span to go pick up your child.
And they know who she is.
They're talking to her. They just don't know where she's at.
Maybe she dropped her off somewhere that she didn't want the baby anymore. But she doesn't want the kid anymore, then you know what? Just say so, and somebody will, that pisses me off when they do stuff like that to kids. I was watching The Border also. And you see those kids in the border, they look scared. They look, and do me a favor, don't blame the United States of America for those kids looking the way they do. They're scared. They're terrified. It's not our fault. You know whose fault it is? The governments, where they come from, number one. And number two, the parents are putting those kids through that.
Absolutely.
And then, pushing them across the border so they can go ahead and stay in there by themselves. I just don't get it. I really, really don't get it.
It says here, The U.S. government has stopped taking immigrant teenagers to a converted camp for oil field workers in West Texas as it faces questions about the safety of emergency sites. It is quickly setting up to hold children crossing the southern border. The Associated Press has learned that the converted camp has faced multiple issues in the 4 days since the Biden administration opened it, amid a scramble to find space for immigrant children. More than 10% of the camp's population has tested positive for COVID-19. And at least one child has had to be hospitalized. An official working at the Midland, Texas facility said most of the Red Cross volunteers staffing the site don't speak Spanish, even though the teenagers they care for are overwhelmingly from Central America. When the facility opened, there weren't enough clothes to give to teenagers who had been wearing the same shirts and pants for several days, and no case managers were on site to begin processing the minors released to family elsewhere in the U.S. Bringing in teenagers while still setting up basic services was kind of like building a plane as it's taking off, said the official, who declined to be named due to government restrictions. The U.S. Health and Human Services notified local officials in Midland on Wednesday that it had no plans to bring more teenagers to the site, according to the email seen by the Associated Press. Spokesman Mark Wahlberg said taking more teenagers to Midland was on pause for now. There are still 485 youths there as Wednesday, 53 who have tested positive for COVID-19. The government on Wednesday brought about 200 teenagers to another emergency site in downtown Dallas, which could expand up to 3,000 minors. They will not open an influx facility for children at Moffett Federal Airfield near San Francisco. President Joe Biden's administration has been sharply criticized for his response to surge in crossings of unaccompanied migrant children, as roughly 4,500 children wait in Border Patrol facilities unequipped for long-term detention, with some sleeping on floors. HHS has rushed to opening holding sites across the country and tried to expedite the processes for releasing children into custody. About 9,500 minors are in HHS custody. In addition, the U.S. has seen a sharp increase in Central American families arriving at the border who are fleeing violence, poverty, and the effects of destructive hurricane. Biden has kept intact an emergency measure enacted by the Trump administration during the pandemic that allows the government to quickly expel them to Mexico, though families with young children are generally allowed to enter through South Texas. Maria Cuellar, 38 years old, of San Pedro Sula, Honduras, was expelled this week along with her 10-year-old boy. Cuellar said she had heard the U.S. was again admitting migrants with the changing administration. She said her house was ravaged by Hurricane Eta in November and was not making ends meet as the pandemic slowed the economy. Smugglers took her through Mexico and through the Rio Grande with a group of 10 after sunset on Sunday. The group then walked overnight for 3 hours to turn themselves in to Border Patrol agents, but they were returned through the pedestrian bridge that connects McAllen, Texas to Reynosa, Mexico in a matter of hours. Cuellar sobbed as she described being away from her 11-year-old daughter. I feel desperate because I don't know what we're going to do. I feel like we have to wait and try again. The Biden administration is not expelling immigrant children unaccompanied by a parent or legal guardian. Several hundred a day are crossing the border, going off first to off-impact Border Patrol stations while they await placement in the HHS system. HHS has turned to the American Red Cross to care for teenagers in both Midland and Dallas. Departure from the standard practice of having paid trained staff to watch over youth. Red Cross volunteers sit outside portable trailers in Midland to monitor teenagers staying inside. Staff from HHS and the U.S. Public Health Service are also at both sites. Neither HHS nor the Red Cross could say whether its volunteers had to pass a FBI fingerprint checks, which are more exhaustive than a commercial background check. Both agencies have declined repeated requests for interviews. And then I continue talking about these kids. Let me tell you, I was a Red Cross volunteer for a very, very long time. And I started off with them when I was a kid. I did HIV, AIDS, peer education. After that, I became a shelter manager. And whenever we had to, when we were in charge of facilities, we did have to do a basic background check. But we never had to do fingerprints or anything like that. I recall there was one hurricane where we were 6 volunteers, 6 Red Cross volunteers, and maybe like a group of 10 folks from a Mormon church. And we were responsible for 2 floors at what's this school in Overtown, big high school in Overtown, and we ended up taking in an additional 200 people. I think we were like 14, 15 people,
Right.
and we were responsible for close to 400 people, which is nuts. We had a floor
Listen.
for single men, and then we had a floor for families and women with children.
Right.
I remember the firefighters brought in extra cots and stuff because we didn't have enough, you know, and that was just, you know, a couple of days until we got through that hurricane or whatever. So I can't imagine what these, you know, Red Cross volunteers are facing with this huge influx of kids, and you don't know how long they're going to hold them. You know, it's really nuts.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that the only problem there is going to be coronavirus?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Do we know anybody that have they tested for hepatitis? Have they tested for
I honestly, I don't know the protocol. Like, what do they test for when they get in? What do they screen for? Do these kids, you know, do they give them vaccinations? Since they're going to be released
I don't think so.
to other family members in the U.S.?
Yeah, I don't think so. See, that's the other issue. They didn't figure out, well, once we have them, what do we do?
Yeah.
Now, how can you go ahead and hook them up with a family, send them over there, and let's say the child has coronavirus or has hepatitis,
Yep.
tuberculosis, any of those things? You don't know that. And the bottom line is, you know, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. And what's funny is this.
We're going to be
what's
in a
funny
whole
is this.
mess of trouble.
Yeah. Let me tell you. Yes, I am conservative. Yes, I am a Republican. And here I'm going to say something. What's funny is that, you know, when Trump, they said that Trump had those kids in cages. Remember the kids in cages?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the cages weren't even done by Trump. It was done by Obama and by
Correct.
Biden, right?
Correct.
During their thing. And he kept the kids in cages, right? These, they're keeping them in containers with bars, with windows and bars, and air conditioning or whatever inside containers. I don't see anybody, you know, I'm not criticizing that because I'm not there. I don't know what the situation is there. Maybe they need to have them in a place to keep them away from the adults, and they need to, you know, as long as they have air conditioning and they have food and they, you know, but I'm not criticizing the way they do it. But, you know, these morons, they criticize President Trump, and at the same time, I don't know if they realized that it wasn't Trump that put them in cages. It was Obama and Biden. But here we are. We have to put up and play these little games with the media and some of those way left Democrats, because the traditional, let me tell you a little information. This is my personal opinion. The traditional Democrat does not agree what's going on in this country. The traditional Democrat. This country existed on Republicans and Democrats and independents and for many, many years. And like I said, you know, every once in a while we get a good Democrat president, and then we get a bad Republican president, and so on and so forth. And this country just moved forward. But now it's not the traditional Democrat. Now it's that way left that wants to turn this place into another Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, Bolivia, and all those places where socialism and communism exists. And they want to bring it here. And like I say, it'll be a cold day in hell before I sit there and let you do it. Because suffered too much. My parents suffered too much to come to this country to let you get away with that. If you don't like it here, like they used to tell us Cubans, if anybody said anything negative about this country, the Anglos reminded us every day, if you don't like it here, go back where you came from. That was told to me by an FBI agent one day. Didn't go well for her, but... And I didn't say anything. And the funny thing is, it was over coffee.
Over coffee?
Yeah. Somebody said...
What do you mean over coffee?
Because one of my sergeants said, oh, you know... I said, hey, where can I get some Cuban coffee? I was at Boca Chica,
down in the Keys.
The military base in the Keys. I was there for a week. When I get back, I'm going to tell you that story.
I would love to hear that story.
I think I told you one time, but you need to hear it because it's a good story.
I think our listeners need to...
Because if that FBI agent is listening, I want her to listen for the rest of her life.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is I'll Call You Back. True Blue Unedited with President Sir.
Izzy Martinez.
And Cachita Lopez here on Cachita Latina Radio.
111, 110.
La Martelo.
¡Ey!
¡Ay, qué sorpresa!
Y me sorprendiste tú a mí porque yo estaba buscando un regalo para ti, ya que me dijiste que te gustaban mucho las pipas.
Sí,
Adivina cuál te quiero regalar.
¿Cuál me quieres
El
regalar?
del pollito.
¡Oh, qué tierno!
Le quiero regalar el del pollito. Porque se parece a él. Mírale el piquito.
¡Oh, qué chulo!
Como ese piquito que tienes ahí.
Señor, esta es la tienda donde compran los artistas, los deportistas y tú que eres VIP también. Fog Nation. ¿Lo digo?
Con G. Fog.
Ahí está. Mira la careta esa. Uy.
Esas son para ahorita, para la cuarentena, para la pandemia. ¿Quieres una? ¿Quieres ponerte una?
Me vendría bien esa cara. Mira, ve, ya empezó
Con
a
esa
tirarme.
cara le vendría bien una de esas. Él mismo lo dijo. Él mismo lo dijo.
Mi gente, gracias por estar conectado con nosotros. Yo soy Tony Cortés y les estoy anunciando que Grimal Joyería y Café Cachita y Grimal Joyería se unen para dar una gran rifa que usted puede ganar. Solamente, escuchen bien, solamente van a compartir, van a llamar por teléfono y van a decir la palabra clave. Grimal Joyería, toma Café Cachita. Comparte, comparte, comparte. Busca Grimal Jewelry en Instagram. Busca Grimal Jewelry en Facebook. Llama por teléfono. Tiene dos tiendas. Una en Hialeah y la otra en la 8. Mira lo que está pasando aquí en pantalla. Tenemos grandes regalos. Café Cachita y Grimal Joyería. A las primeras 20 personas que empiecen a compartir, a llamar por teléfono, a interactuar con nosotros, vas a tener todo vas a tomar Cachita. Porque Cachita es nuestra Virgen, nuestra patrona de Cuba. Y van a ponerse una prenda para respetar y querer y amar a nuestra caridad de cobre. Cachita.
Ay, Dayami, si yo te estaba buscando en mi vida. Me dijeron que tú eres la mejor para cotizarme un seguro para mi carro.
Claro que sí, aquí en Diamond Insurance te vamos a hacer una cotización que se ajuste a tu bolsillo y a tus necesidades de seguro.
Ay, mi vida, y con lo caro que están los seguros en la Florida.
Han subido, pero un poquito, pero no te preocupes, nosotros aquí tenemos muchos años trabajando todo el estado con muchas compañías.
Ay, eso es lo que yo necesito. ¿Y qué tengo que hacer? ¿Cómo compro mi póliza?
Nada, con una simple llamada, un mensaje de texto, un email, cotizamos tu póliza completamente gratis y en minutos, porque somos la manera más fácil para asegurarte.
Dayami, aquí, entre tú y yo. ¿Tú sí me vas a contestar?
Claro que sí, nosotros siempre contestamos.
Ay, ¿verdad que un diamante es un diamante? Con Diamond Insurance me siento asegurado.
¿Segura que sí?
Una flor en la ocasión especial puede hacer la diferencia.
Bueno, cuando las personas vienen a una floristería tienen múltiples opciones para una persona que está en un hospital, para una persona que ha fallecido, conquistar a una mujer, disculparnos.
Si usted se quiere disculpar porque metió la pata la semana pasada, venga aquí a Cerezo Flower. Ya sabes, 1721 Southwest, 32 Avenida, marca el teléfono 786-326-4412. Haz la diferencia con la persona que tú amas. Una flor.
Ladies and gentlemen, guess what? This is I'll Call You Back. True Blue Unedited with President Sir.
Izzy Martinez.
And Cachita Lopez here on Cachita Latina Radio.
Ahí.
Isidoro.
Dime.
Okay, so check this out. Thousands of revelers packed Ocean Drive to kick off what police said is expected to be the busiest weekend of spring break. But a popular spot will remain closed to diners due to safety concerns. About a block north, a large crowd of mostly maskless revelers were seen walking around the iconic street while police officers kept a watchful eye across the street. Miami Beach police were spotted with a prisoner van on standby in case the situation gets out of control. Hours later, the Clevelander South Beach announced Friday that they will be temporarily halting their food and beverage operations. Friday afternoon, cameras captured empty tables and folded umbrellas at the Clevelander. The entrance to the dining area was blocked. Recently, we have grown increasingly concerned with the safety of our dedicated employees and valued customers and the ability of the city to maintain a safe environment in their surrounding area, the hotel's manager said in a letter posted on social media. Therefore, we have made the difficult decision to temporarily close the food and beverage operations at the Clevelander until at least March 24th, 2021. The hotel said they will reevaluate over the coming days and will decide if they should reopen and remain temporarily closed. Their concerns, most likely, stem from several incidents that took place in Miami Beach over the past few days. Cell phone video showed the tail end of a stampede on Ocean Drive Friday evening.
Right.
As people ran away, several women screamed as they fled to safety. The stampede happened after a large group of people gathered near Wet Willie's. Thursday night, police used pepper bombs to break up a fight outside a restaurant, sending spring breakers running for cover. Cell phone video showed patrons at Jalapeno Mexican Kitchen on the 500 block of Ocean Drive as they got under tables. Before the situation spiraled into chaos, revelers packed Ocean Drive between 8th and 9th Streets. When the fight broke out and police moved in, nearby restaurants took a major hit. Videos showed furniture and glassware were tossed and broken. Checks were left unpaid. A man was also killed following a shooting on Monday night. Police have increased efforts to crack down on crime in the city, including bringing in officers from other departments. We are at the height of spring break. This weekend is being what is expected to be the busiest of weeks, said Miami Beach police officer Ernesto Rodriguez. A lot of additional reinforcements in terms of police activity here in Miami Beach, so a lot of measures in place to curb any criminal activity, to tame the crowds, and to encourage people who are here to behave responsibly. If not, the message is clear. You will be arrested. Miami Beach mayor said he is disturbed by the recent incidents captured on video. We're just going to have to manage it the best we can. I hate seeing the videos. Ultimately, Gerber said he wants to end the entertainment district, but for now he's focused on getting a handle on spring break. I want people to know that we have a lot of officers here not warning, and we're not warning people. We're just arresting them. At least 24 people were arrested Thursday night. In the past 5.5 weeks, we've seen over 900 arrests. Miami Beach has enlisted the help of Florida Highway Patrol. Videos showed troopers on the eastbound side of the MacArthur Causeway on Friday evening. Hours later, cameras showed backed up traffic along the westbound lanes of 5th Street right before the causeway. Officials said they are prepared to shut down the causeway this weekend if needed to control the number of people who head into Miami Beach.
But they already said that.
In a statement, the manager for the Clevelander South Beach wrote the Clevelander employees have our full support and shall be paid their full salary during this period. However, many of the employees depend on tips to make a living.
Exactly. So you still haven't solved that problem. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you think it's bad, it's going to catch you with your pants down, and it's going to be even worse. And you're going to have a massive, massive situation and a massive problem on the beach. You're just letting it go and letting it go and letting it go. What are you waiting for to get all the municipalities that you can get, and the county and the city and everybody, and put them on the beach? Put them on the beach. Do like we used to do. I used to be in MACTAF. MACTAF is the multi-agency gang task force that I was in for about a year. And it was, back then it was sponsored by the FBI. FBI did a lot of good stuff with us, or we did a lot of good stuff with the FBI. And why don't we do that? Why don't we do that? But no, it's easier to just go ahead and we have a problem. This weekend was terrible, and one person died. And the next week, we still have the same problem. What are you going to say?
But I can't remember. I remember back, Miami Beach has been out of control for a while.
Of course.
I recall pre-COVID, the last event that I did was around spring break. It was around this time. I'll tell you the exact date. It was March 14th. literally a year ago. March 14th, it was a private party for like an extremely wealthy client that flew in his family from everywhere. It was supposed to be a party for 150 people, but the pandemic had already started. And we ended up doing the party for 40 people. The guy rented out a restaurant, like a 2-story restaurant just for him. It was like a whole to-do. And I recall I got there and there was traffic, and I called one of my musicians that was late. He goes, the bridge is shut down. Same time, my sister calls me from dispatch, and she's texting me. She's like, hey, if you get a hold of Ernesto, my brother, he was in town partying down there with another cousin of ours that came in from New York. And she starts texting me. She goes, I need you to see if you can reach out to Ernesto.
Right.
I need him to get off of the beach. And what happened? There's a stampede on Española. There was like 2 shootings. That's why they closed down the bridge to, limit people from leaving. It's nuts, man. It is. And that was a year ago. Dime algo.
No, and it's still the same. Y va a seguir igual. Y se está empeorando. Y lo que pasa es que le siguen dando de largo y dando de largo. Hasta las otras noches mataron a una persona. Pero cuando haya varios muertos van a decir, imagínate, ahora es que vamos a hacer algo. Acaben de llamar a todas las municipalidades del condado, a la policía del condado Miami-Dade, y llamen a todo el mundo. Pueden llamar hasta la FBI, ATF, hagan un task force y lleven a toda esa gente para ahí. Pero no le vayas a amarrar las manos a los policías y a los agentes federales, porque lo que va a pasar es que vas a seguir montado en la misma guaguita y no tienes ninguna parada para bajarte. Tienes que coger y decirle, el primero que se pase, te lo tienes que llevar preso. Si te levantan la mano, no te tengo que decir lo que tienes que hacer. Si te dan un golpe, no les tengo que decir lo que tienen que hacer.
That's it.
Entonces, otra cosa, one thing that they mentioned on TV, was it last night or the night before? You said there were 900 arrests, and they said there were 900 citations.
This thing says here 900 arrests.
Yeah, but on the news they said 900 citations. Now, they could be. I don't even want to imagine that they had 900 arrests and they PTA'd, which is a promise to appear, and they sign and they leave because they're going back out into the same area where they're trying to get them out of. ¿Entiendes? Por eso yo lo vi en el televisor ahí que decían que eran 900 tickets, pero no tickets de tráfico, pueden ser tickets civiles por no tener la máscara, no estar a 6 pies. No, esa gente...
Bueno, si es así, entonces tiene que haber 4,000. Porque si te pones a ver los videos, nadie tiene puesto una máscara en South Beach.
¿Qué máscara?
Y hay miles de personas en la calle formando tremendo show.
No, a esa gente no le importa 3 pitos, nada de eso. Lo que la parte que yo de verdad que no creo es que yo creo que muchos de los agitadores que están ahí, fíjate cómo soy fino ahora, te digo agitadores, para no decirle animales.
Y parásitos.
Que están formando los líos eso ahí en la playa, que dicen que son personas que vienen de otros estados huyéndole al frío. No lo creo. Yo creo que muchos de esos que están son los amiguitos de nosotros locales aquí, que no tienen nada mejor que hacer que ir a fastidiar a la playa, y van para allá con sus armas de fuego a fajarse, a apuñalar, a tiroteo, todo lo que tenga que ver con violencia. Son personas locales. El problema es que los políticos no te van a decir que son personas locales porque no le convienen.
Ay. Mira, hablando de políticos, quiero tocar
eso que a mí me encantan los políticos, yo no te lo dije.
Tengo que tocar un punto político en un minuto, pero primero quiero resaltar un caso que me llamó mucho la atención. It's also in Miami Beach.
Talk to me.
Says here, Miami Beach firefighters saved the day for an elderly man and his house wasn't even on fire. Crews visited Maurice Sunshine's home on Friday to give him his COVID-19 vaccine. But the firefighters also wound up saving him from a pricey scam. Sunshine, who's 96 years old, has developed a special relationship with the Miami Beach Fire Department. Back in January, one of the firefighters and his partner paid the senior a visit to give him his first COVID vaccination. But while there, he told them about a concerning call he received. He got off his cell phone and he basically reiterated to us that he just found out his daughter may have been involved in a motor vehicle in New York City. He told me my daughter was going to spend the night in jail unless she got $10,800 in bail. Sunshine said the scammers demanded the money as a woman they claimed to be his daughter screamed for help in the background. He said, I didn't know it was a scam because I could hear my daughter screaming. She was screaming in the back, Daddy, help me. Sunshine said, I was badly shaken. I was not the least bit rational. I was anxious to get through the shot so I could go to the bank and get money. I was in a state of terror. But the firefighters stepped in to help. They urged Sunshine not to send any money. After a closer look, they discovered the call was actually coming from Atlanta, not from New York. And when Sunshine called his daughter, she was safe at home. All the right clues were there. I was just so grateful to be able to give back to one of our citizens and be able to help him on a more personal level. I'm deeply grateful to Ryan and Armando and his connection for saving me $11,000 and for relieving my agony and fear, Sunshine said. The city of Miami Beach recently honored both firefighters at a commission meeting for going above and beyond their duty. And this is something that's super important, folks to know.
I agree. I know exactly what you're saying.
Maybe that gentleman, is very well off. Maybe he's not. And people, they take advantage of the elderly. They take advantage of folks that perhaps don't have enough. Today, I received a text from a good friend of mine, and I realized it wasn't her from the first text because of the way that she greeted me. It was just very dry. And this is a friend of mine that she's un pedazo de pan empavizado en almíbar. This chick is like the nicest, sweetest, más cariñosa person that you can meet, you know? So when I see such a dry message,
you wonder if it's her.
Yeah, I was like, this is a little strange. And then she also sends me a message por, I actually blocked it here, por regular messenger, Facebook Messenger. So they hacked her accounts, her WhatsApp and, whatever. And she says, hey, is your Zelle working? Your Zelle or your
I got one of those.
Is your Zelle or your Cash App working? I go, yeah, it is. What's up? She has a little girl. She's a single mom, good friend of mine, who's only been in the country a couple of years. And may say, oh, I have this problem. I'm having an issue with my card. If you can help me with this, I got to pay this thing. If you can help me with this, then, you can pass by my house tomorrow and pick up the check. You can pick up the money tomorrow. I go, okay, cool. How much you need? She's
what?
This is what I tell her because I'm trying to get information.
Oh.
Viste, yo aprendido. Baited her, right?
Right.
Viste. I go, yeah, sure. What do you need? ¿Cómo está la niña? Whatever. And she's like, well, I need $500 and I need you to Cash App it to this phone number. I go, okay, perfect. Do you need anything else? Are you and your daughter okay? Yeah, we're fine. No sé qué cosa. Send me the confirmation when you have it. So I call my friend and she goes, no me digas nada. Me hackearon las cuentas.
Right.
This is or whatever. I go,
she
yeah.
got hacked.
I go, but I have the name of the person and the phone number. She goes, what? I go, yes. I got them to give me the information. I took a screenshot. I sent it to her. Actually, I do have it here.
And she knows who the person is?
No.
Oh.
No, she doesn't. But she was able to report it. So she reported it. And I don't know how long that takes for them to do that.
But now what comes up? The picture of the person or their profile?
No. Okay, so it tells me here, hola. Te escribe si puedo hacerme un favor.
I got about 10 of those.
And then I go, of course. ¿Qué cuenta? Envíame la información. It's $500 and she gives me the phone number and the name it's registered to. And she goes, esta es la persona que le tengo que hacer el pago.
Sí, pero ese teléfono va a ser un...
No, here's the thing though. The phone number, for you to have a Cash App, if it's a Zelle, you have to have a bank account.
Okay, right.
Your Zelle goes to a bank account. If it goes to the Cash App, you also need to verify with your social security number. I mean, you can't create like a fake account.
Right.
Because it's so monitored.
And where are these people from then?
I don't know. I'm going to check out. What's the 646 area code? 646 area code.
See, anybody that calls you from
New York City.
Oh, of course.
It is a New York City phone number. And I have the girl's name and everything. And I told her, I go, report it. I reported it on WhatsApp. She reported it on Facebook.
So if you call that number, you're going to get the bad guys?
I don't know.
That would be interesting to call them back and say, hey, I've been trying
right?
I've been trying to do that, and apparently you're not answering What's going on? I sent you $500 and for whatever reason it's not going through. What the hell's going on? ¿Entiende? Eso sí estuviera bueno de llamarlo y correrle una máquina. I did it.
Yes.
But yes. I had some guy call me up, and I think he's from India or whatever the hell it was where he was at. And he said that my computer was infected. And I said, it was what? It's infected. And I said, you got to be kidding. What does that mean? He goes, well, you're going to get a virus, and it's going to destroy the computer, so on and so forth. What do I have to do? Are you in front of your computer? No, it was at work. He was calling the police department, idiot. So I'm there, and I go, okay, now I'm in front of the computer, but no, call me back because at 8 o'clock I'm going to be home with the computer. Oh, but sir, after 5 o'clock. And I said, well, then I can't, So he finally called, and I let him on. 3 days in a row. Yo hablando con el tipo. Y el tipo decía, no, Mr. Martínez, que esto lo otro. Y yo seguía, cuando terminó. Ya el tercer día, I couldn't take it anymore. And the third day, I go, let me tell you something. I had you going 3 days in a row. For hours. Are you moving the computer? Yes, I'm moving it, but I'm hitting the thing and it doesn't move. But sir, please, I don't see it moving here. Well, I don't know, you have a problem. 3 días le corrí la máquina yo a ellos. Porque no tenía nada mejor que hacer. Y los tenía locos. I had them going crazy. Si los llaman y le dicen que es la compañía de luz, que tienen que pagar el bill, que el bill no ha llegado, que esto lo otro, es un paquete. Eso no existe. Le estás mandando el dinero a una pila de ladrones, delincuentes que te están robando el dinero. Si te dicen que es el Social Security no te llama.
IRS
si el
no te
Internal
llama.
Revenue no te llama, te mandan 2 agentes con trajes puestos y te dicen, usted debe esta cantidad de dinero, mire las esposas, la pistola y la chapa, y si no lo paga, va preso o le vamos a confiscar la casa y todas las propiedades, que esto y lo otro. Ellos no los van a llamar. Ellos le encantan hacerle eso a las personas mayores, a las personas ya bastante los viejitos. Ellos le encantan hacerla. A mi mamá la volvieron loca un día diciéndole que le iban a cortar la luz. Y yo le dije a mi mamá, no te preocupes, tú le dices que te corten la luz, que yo tengo una caja de vela que te voy a llevar para la casa para que la ponga por toda la casa. Yeah, just make sure that you do not give your information up.
Absolutely.
Or send money to anybody. Oh, we kidnap your family. Keep them.
Good luck.
Keep them. Is my son there? Yeah, he eats like a freight train. Keep him. You're gonna send him right back. Because what happens is that they call you and they tell you that they had your family kidnapped.
That's what they told that viejito ese.
Wait
¿Tú
a
te
minute.
imaginas que el pobre viejito le haya sucedido una cosa?
Guess where most of those calls are coming in from?
Where? You told me Puerto Rico, ¿no?
Ladies and gentlemen, from inside the prison in Puerto Rico. Adentro de Puerto Rico, dentro de la prisión, es donde generan las llamadas esas, que te dicen que te tienen secuestrado a tu familiar y que no lo van a dejar salir hasta que tú no le pagues. Y que tú tienes uno y que vives en tal lugar. Ellos se saben toda la información tuya, porque mucha de la información que tenemos es pública. So, ellos hacen un research y te buscan la información tuya. Sí, y tu casa es rosada, y tu mamá se llama Rosita, y todo eso. Y entonces, ¿qué es lo que tú te piensas? Uy, me tienen secuestrado la familia. Yo tengo un amigo, una persona que yo conozco que mandó $300. $300 por un secuestro. Imagínate tú. Esos son los secuestradores más baratos que he visto yo en mi vida. 300 cocos. Por mí no pagan ni 50 kilos si me secuestran. Pero no le den ni un kilo a nadie, ni le mandan un dinero a nadie que ustedes no sepan quién es. Y desde la prisión de Puerto Rico hacen mucho de los fraudes de teléfono. No sé cómo lo hacen. Me lo dijo un amiguito mío que trabaja para el gobierno todavía, ya que ya yo estoy retirado. Les ven acá, ¿de dónde están las llamadas esas de la prisión de Puerto Rico? Pero ¿cómo es eso? Dice, sí.
Wow.
Yeah. Y se permiten. Y lo siguen haciendo. Oh, yeah. I would love to meet one of those. Can you imagine? Yo lo que quería decirle, yo tengo el dinero y lo tengo cash. ¿Por qué no pasas aquí por la casa? Yo te voy a dar la dirección. Pasa por aquí un momentico y pásalo a recoger. Y el primero que llegue a la puerta, le doy en el trepalo, que al otro día no se puede levantar. Así que si mandan un courier a buscar el dinero, ese es el que se va a llevar a la entrada de patá. And that's it. I mean, all the other stuff that's just going on in the city, in the county.
Te cuento. This is something that might interest you.
Talk to me.
It says here. A police officer is filing a lawsuit against the city of Coral Gables and 2 other officers after he says he was demoted and his professional reputation seriously damaged.
Name.
It was in November of 2018 when Ben Guerrero
Oh, yes. He's a friend of mine.
Said 2 off-duty officers working security at Hillstone Restaurant in Coral Gables yanked him from a bar stool and dragged him outside.
Ese es el amigo mío, Benny.
He was arrested, charged with battery on a law enforcement officer and resisting arrest with violence. Guerrero said none of these things happened. What happened to me was a crime. They perp walked me through the restaurant in handcuffs. It's a humiliating experience for anyone, but perhaps even more so for Guerrero, a law enforcement officer of almost 40 years. He was a deputy chief of Florida International University's police force, a lawyer, and an adjunct professor at the university.
He worked for Alex.
Surveillance video from inside the restaurant showed what happened that night. Guerrero said he was with a group having dinner at the bar, and they asked to speak with the manager after the bartender said he would not serve any more alcoholic drinks to one of the women in the group. The bar had a policy they didn't serve people to the point of intoxication. Watching the surveillance video, everything seems calm. Then an officer walks up to Guerrero and gestures him to be quiet. Guerrero said he puts his finger to his mouth, and the next thing he's literally assaulting me and throwing me off of a bar stool. The police report said the bar manager asked officers to remove Guerrero. No one ever told me to leave, he recalled. The manager gave a recorded statement to police who were looking into the incident. This is what he told the group. We're not going to serve you, but I did not give them any direction in terms of needing to close out or needing to leave. Police also stated Guerrero resisted arrest and struck one of the officers in the face with an elbow. He says, I never struck anybody, and that's clear on the video. He said, adding that they lied on their arrest affidavit.
Sue them.
He is. Guerrero said he was transported. They transported him to TGK, where he said they strip searched him, put him in a red jumpsuit, and put me in an isolation changer because of isolation cell because of the fact that I'm a police officer. State Attorney's Office declined to prosecute the case, but then Florida International University demoted Guerrero and cut his pay.
Yep.
His income was severely affected, and this is something more importantly that he has to live with for the rest of his life. The city attorney for Coral Gables gave this statement. The city is aware of the incident and stands by the actions of the officers in this case. If a suit is filed, we will evaluate the allegations made and respond appropriately. Guerrero stands by his story. This shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen to me. It shouldn't happen to anyone.
To anybody. That's correct. You know who he worked for, right? Alex Casa.
Oh.
That was Alex's right-hand man. He was his assistant.
Oh.
Let me tell you about Ben Guerrero, okay? Ben Guerrero is an amazing person. He's a very nice person. I was not there. I did not witness what happened. But for Ben Guerrero, or Benny, to get up and strike an officer in the face with an elbow, that would, I'm telling you right now, Benny must have been like, you know, falling on his face. And I heard that that's not the case, that Benny was not drunk. And that the officer came in with an attitude and didn't want to hear any other stories except.
Oh, you mean an officer was being an asshole to somebody?
It happens.
Ah.
Pero espérate, let me ask you this.
Caero.
No, espérate.
Ay, los voladores, lo dijo.
Se le subió Shango. Oye, mira, fíjate lo que te voy a decir.
What?
Do you think that only happens to civilians? It happens to us too. We get pulled over by cops. We've been in situations where cops come up to us and we're trying to explain to them, hey, look, you know, and I'm going to tell you a story about an operation that I did where the officer refused to leave the area and came face to face with me while I was doing an undercover operation.
Oh my God! Tomorrow, Monday. We got to talk about this Monday for sure.
That was a home invasion that we.
Antes de irnos, tengo que mandar un saludo muy especial al tío Delfín, que siempre nos escucha, que nos comenta en todos los posts en Facebook. Tío Delfín y las primas los queremos mucho.
No le está echando alcohol al fuego porque
me dijeron que el tío Delfín siempre está emperifollado.
¿Tú lo viste?
Qué lindo, Dios lo bendiga.
Él se levanta, se pone su traje con su corbata roja.
Ajá.
Y agarra la copita de vino y camina por ahí con su copita de vino que se parece a John Gotti.
I love it. Así que muchos abrazos y saludos para ustedes. Muchísimas gracias por el apoyo siempre. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been I'll Call You Back, True Blue Unedited with President Sir
Izzy Martinez
and Cachita Lopez here on Cachita Latina Radio.
Be back.
111, 110.
Mi mujer no se levanta de la cama sin 2 cafés. Hecho por mí, por supuesto. Le pregunté, ¿cuál es de la casa el mejor café? Y me dijo, sinceramente, Cachita. Pruébenlo. Y después me dice, salud, con Cachita.